Okay. Oh.
Look a little crazy. Just got done doing a heist.
That's me every day, looking crazy for no reason. Now to play, like last week, to play catch up on the movies I missed because I was at the con. Luckily, I will be here this Thursday night, though. Actually, I'm going to be at a movie tomorrow night as well. I'm at movies like pretty much every day this week. We just got, earlier I was at Hotel Artemis, and I'll talk about that in a bit, but we just got out of Ocean's 8. Which I think was the #1 movie last weekend. And we went to go see it on the IMAX screen. Had no idea this was playing on IMAX.
Yeah, it wasn't a reclining seat, but it was definitely a step up.
Yeah, that was your first time there, right? The IMAX screen, yeah, it is comfortable in there. And I saw you liked the little countdown that they did beforehand.
Yeah!
Like the 10, 9,
It was
8.
zazzy, you guys.
I leaned over and was like, when that shit's in 3D, it's like the best 3D, like even better than the movie, even better than the movies.
I remember seeing IMAXs like at the museum growing up, and it was like new technology, and they have one that's like the 360 wraparound.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like movies where it's just soaring through the clouds like a goddamn majestic eagle, and it kind of reminded me of that, where it's just zazzy for zazziness sake.
I want to say that they also did that when we went to go see My Bloody Valentine 3D. I think they did, because Jillian was with us. I remember the 3D on that. 3D in that movie was really good too, but when that popped up, I remember her going like, this movie's going to be intense.
From the countdown.
From just the countdown, yeah, oh shit. Oh, fuck.
3, 5.
Ocean's 8 wasn't in 3D though.
No.
Unfortunately.
That's okay.
Diamonds in 3D. Did you like the movie?
I did. I thought it was cute. I really liked the first Ocean's 11.
The Soderbergh one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should say the first George Clooney, Brad Pitt Ocean's 11. And I know I've seen the 12th and the 13th one. I was like frantically scrolling through the different streaming services that I have to see if I could find them to rewatch them, because I famously get them confused with each other. Like, one of them has an egg, and one of them has Bruce Willis, and one of them has like Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts.
Yeah, those are all the second
and
one.
One of them, they like jack up a building or something.
That's a third one, right?
Maybe?
The third one's the one with Al Pacino, and I did enjoy the first one, the Soderbergh one, and second one's pretty bad. Third one I actually remember liking. It was more tonally kind of like the first one than it was the Ocean's 12, which was kind of a glorious mess, honestly.
I will say that one surprised me when they're like, turns out we had the egg the whole time, and I'm like, what was the fucking point of that? But at least I was surprised. Whereas this one, like, it was really good. It was really well made, and I enjoyed it. But like, there wasn't a single twist that I didn't see coming, and that was a little disappointing. Yeah.
Right. I mean, not that I.
You thought we had the necklace the whole time.
Not that I necessarily thought there was going to be anything that would really surprise me in the movie, because I don't know how much I was necessarily surprised by a lot of stuff that happened in the other movies.
Yeah.
You're kind of just along there for the ride, and like the other ones, especially the first one, this is very much, it's an audience film. You know, it's a likable movie. It's there for a summer heist movie to just go to, have a pretty good time with, and you know, go home and enjoy your day, really. Like, I thought the movie was perfectly fine. It's a perfectly serviceable movie for, the kind of movie that it is. But you're right. Like, when someone joins up with them later, it's kind of easy to predict.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, there's the 8th.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it's like, movie, I can count.
At the end, they've got like 15, so I mean, it's not like they were sticking to a particular number.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's kind of the case with the other movies too.
But it's got some like twists, and every time something happens, everyone in the movie almost like turns the screen and like, huh?
Yeah.
Remember that thing that I like bought at the toy store? And I'm like, yeah, I know, I was watching the movie.
Yeah, it'll do the thing where it flashes back to something but from like a different angle, and it's that like Ocean's music. Like, yeah, it's a well-made enough movie. I mean, like, it's directed like the other ones are, honestly, even right down to the music cues. The movie kind of starts out, really, it's kind of doing the first one again. Like, because it, like the first one, the Soderbergh one, it starts out with her at her parole hearing, like it did with Danny Ocean in the first one, and then it goes through all the steps of finding the crew, and you don't know exactly what the plan is necessarily, and it's revealed more and more as it goes along, and then in the last act, it kind of fills in the gaps of everything you'd seen. I did like how it was. I did like the heist in the film. I like that they're stealing this necklace from Anne Hathaway at this gala, and it's like this $150 million diamond necklace she's wearing, and Anne Hathaway's this... Is she an actress in the movie, or is she just a socialite?
She's supposed to be like a... They mentioned a couple times that she's like, oh, you know, I can always tell bad acting, so I think she's supposed to be like a A-list actress.
That made it, even though it's doing similar kind of setups that the other movie did, the fact that this is a plot line that has a lot to do with fashion and celebrity and everything, that made it feel different than any of the other three, really. Like, they're not robbing a casino. It's not that egg from the second one, or the revenge thing on Al Pacino with the third one. And I was waiting for cameos throughout, like, this whole movie, you know? Like, and there are a couple. Like the moth, for instance. No, that almost got me.
That was a mosquito, and I didn't want to bite you. It's the thing that we always have to do during the summer reviews, decide if we want to boil to death in our own sweat, or be covered in bugs by the end of the review. I
guess I could have been boiling in this one, because, I mean, this is another, like, well, it's not a remake, it's like a spin-off, but like in the review for for Paul Feig's Ghostbusters, it was like 1,000 degrees in that.
Okay, I'm closing the windows.
Yeah, no problem. It was like 1,000 degrees in that car, and I'm sweating bullets, like, oh god. So I guess it makes sense.
Many bugs.
I guess it makes sense that like I'd be doing that in this movie too. I was waiting for cameos throughout this, and there are a couple. There are a couple that show up.
I think it has Kim Kardashian, just like the back of her head for a split second.
Oh, well, yeah, there's like Katie Holmes there, and there's a few other people, but I mean like actual like cameos from the previous movies.
Yeah.
There's a couple who show up in the movie. Were you expecting Clooney to pop up somewhere in this?
I kind of was expecting him to show up at the very end.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Sorry,
spoilers, George Clooney doesn't show up.
Yeah. Unless it was like an end stinger thing.
No, that's actually why I waited, because they were doing like, you know, the credits, they do like the flashy credits.
Yeah.
And then usually if there's a stinger, it's between the flashy credits and the rolly credits. Yeah. And so the flashy credits ended with much pomp and circumstance, and then there was just like blackness, and then the scrolly credits started. I'm like, oh, alright, I guess I can go
unless maybe it is at the very, very end. Elliot Gould pops up in it. The, Asian dude, he pops up in the movie. If it was anyone else, I didn't notice.
I saw a thing that said that Matt Damon was originally going to have a cameo, but it got cut, and I didn't read the article because I was worried it might have spoilers in it, but I'll just look into it.
It's a fine movie. The actors, they all have good chemistry together in it. They carry the movie just fine. It's perfectly serviceable, like it is. There's nothing great about it. It's, if you watch the trailer, that will...
There's a lot of stuff that was in the trailer that just wasn't in the movie, which they do a lot.
Oh yeah, when they're like, you should turn it on, or something like that.
Yeah, and like the part where they're like walking down the street and she's like, what, we're gonna rob a diamond mine? Like, that wasn't in it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's probably a lot of...
That happens with like every movie now. Especially comedies. Like, they didn't use that part of the line-a-rama.
Well, lately we've been getting the Mamma Mia 2 preview, and it's got like 2 different takes of the same scene. Yeah,
it's got alternate takes in it. Yeah. It's like the Dumb and Dumber trailer, where like 80% of it's alternate takes from different angles. It's fine. It's entertaining enough. I don't know if it's the kind of movie where...
You don't need to go see it in IMAX.
No, I don't know why this is in IMAX. Like, I really don't. Like, it's one of those movies too where I kind of thought it was wrapped up at a certain point, and then kept going for about another 20 minutes.
So James Corden could show up.
He's actually quite good in this.
I like him.
Yeah.
He had some of the few laugh points in the movie for me.
Yeah, there was really only a few times I kind of laughed in it, but I was entertained enough as it was going on. But James Corden shows up, yeah, in the last act of the movie, and when he showed up, I was like, oh, right, he was in the trailer. I completely forgot about that.
He made it very specific. I'm an insurance adjuster. I'm an insurance investigator. I will either want to find fraud or the necklace. Anything else I don't care about. I'm like, all right, so probably he's going to team up with them.
It feels like he has come in from like a TV procedural that this character stars in.
But to be here today.
Yeah, and like happens upon this film. And you've seen this in movies like this before. Like Going in Style did this, where it kind of feels like it's wrapped up at a point, but then like the third act, like investigation kicks in. That's what happens here. The heist happens, and then James Corden shows up to investigate the disappearance of the necklace. And I was like, okay, so this will probably go on for about 20 more minutes.
You got a bug on your shoulder. I'm gonna smack you real quick.
Yeah, sure. It's really because you're like, no, you're wrong.
Incorrect.
I swore James Corden was in this.
Nope.
Did you feel like that it kind of felt wrapped up at a certain point? Like,
yeah, but I knew that other twist was coming, so I was just kind of waiting for it.
Oh, that's true. And I kind of thought maybe that would just be in the last 5 minutes of the movie, mainly. Granted, I am sort of thinking...
They had to do, like, the big reveal, because they didn't expect us to know, except that they, like, made sweet love to the things that the twist was relating to earlier in the movie.
And I was thinking more towards the first one, too, because the first one kind of wraps up not that long after the heist happens. But, yeah...
They all go out by the fountain and talk about their feelings for a while.
Yeah, there's like a montage. They go out by the fountain and they kind of just part ways and everything. The end of the second one was like, I don't know, like Clooney and Julia Roberts are on like a porch swing talking about shit.
Fondling their egg. We've had this thing for so long.
When it got to the part where they were wondering who Anne Hathaway's date was going to be at this gala, I was like, God, I hope it's Bruce Willis. Like, what if, like, that's a cameo from the other movie? Like Bruce Willis
obviously
comes
the
in.
boyfriend.
I know, like, I didn't actually think, like, Bruce Willis was going to pop up in the movie. Though, I don't know, Bruce has popped up in random things before, like, but... I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I was like, oh, that would be kind of clever. Bruce Willis pops up as himself again in this movie.
That'd be the least believable thing about this movie is that Bruce Willis got invited to the Met Gala.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Really interested in seeing how he was going to interpret European royalty.
And then Chuck Norris walks in. The fuck kind of event is this? I don't think this is as expensive as I think it is.
They're running like a separate heist from the heist that we're watching.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like the Zeppo episode of Buffy.
I don't know why I laughed at that. I don't get that reference.
Somebody out there did. Aha!
Zeppo Marx was in...
I did it for you!
Anne Hathaway was really good in this, by the way. She was my favorite part of this movie. Like, she was having a lot of fun playing this, like... How would you describe her? Like, because she's not really dumb, but like...
No, she's playing that sort of like...
Vapid, yeah.
No, not even really vapid. Yeah. Just so self-centered that it... Like, she wasn't really taking in any new information.
Oh, okay,
like,
yeah.
Like, she was, like... There was a point where she was talking to James Corden, and he was, like, talking about, like, the investigation, and she's making, like, really, like... interested, thoughtful faces, but she was just waiting for her turn to talk. Because he was like, I love my job. And she's like, I love my job too.
So it's me whenever someo's telling me a long story.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, if I were to try to describe to you the episode the Zeppo from Buffy, just
Yes. I just asked what time it was. Yeah, no, I don't know if you need to rush out to go see this. I mean, like...
Yeah, it'll pop up on streaming and then go ahead and give it a watch. It's fun.
Sure, especially if you liked... at least if you liked 11 and 13. If you like 12, you'll like this. But, like, if you... Yeah, I mean, it's enjoyable as a good counterpart to that. It's not really doing anything better, necessarily, than those. But not... worse either. It just sort of is the other movie again, and it's entertaining enough.
Yeah.
It's got good enough actors in it. They
Oh,
easily
excuse me.
they easily carry the film just fine. So it's a serviceable enough rental.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll watch it, have a good time with it, and probably not think that much more about it later.
I'm barely thinking about it now, and I'm trying to talk about it on video.
I know, right? Thank God we're not live.
Waiting, sitting and waiting for my chance to talk.
Yes, diamonds. Yes. Should I talk about Hotel Artemis now?
Yes.
I was at man, you would have loved this movie.
I bet I would have.
I was
okay. This movie was fun. I'm not trying to be.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pout. I am interested in watching Hotel Artemis, so I'm glad to hear that it was good.
Remember when you were at you and Ryan were at Pitch Perfect 2 when me and the boys were at Fury Road, and
Yeah.
you and Ryan are reviewing it, and you were like, this movie's fine enough, but man. So Hotel Artemis takes place in Los Angeles in 2028.
Mm-hmm.
And Jodie Foster runs this hotel downtown that services criminals. Like they go there if they need to hide out or if they've been shot, because she's also a nurse. So a lot in the
Basically, know the plot of this movie from the preview.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw the preview, at first I thought, like, is this like the spin-off of John Wick they were talking about with the Hotel Continental? It's not, but that's similar in that, like, there's the Hotel Continental in John Wick that has, like, kind of a similar function that the one in this, but both movies have very, very different feels to them. This movie starts out with its Sterling K. Brown.
Can I give a shot at the plot?
Yeah, go for it.
So Sterling K. Brown and
Yeah.
his team of compatriots are going to rob a diamond store.
That's the movie we just watched.
It turns out that the diamond store is owned by Jeff Goldblum, and they steal a pen, and it turns out to be a pen full of diamonds.
You're about 80% right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it starts out where they're robbing a bank, and Sterling K. Brown's brother takes a couple of bullets when they're escaping, so they go to the Hotel Artemis. And Jeff Goldblum's character is like this crime lord called the
Wolf.
yeah, it's like the Wolf something.
Yeah. I
And
watched the preview a couple
right,
times.
and you're right. The pen, like they get the pen from a guy in the bank.
Yeah, because the guy was sassing him, and he's like, I'm going to steal your pen. He's like, you don't want that pen? I'm like, I really want that pen.
It's full of diamonds.
Yeah.
But that's only like one of a bunch of different things going on in this movie. What's really, really... I love this fucking movie, by the way. I fucking adore this film. What's really cool about this is that all of this is going on when there is this colossal riot going on in Los Angeles. Like, it's kind of one of those cool movies where you're following this story about these bank robbers in this hotel, but there's this, like, big event going on in the background.
So like the Zeppo episode of Buffy.
Does that go on in there? Like, it's like, you know, Rats, where it's like it's a movie about killer rats, but it's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, but
okay.
then it's just like kind of keeps running past in the background.
Yeah. So like when Dave Bautista is like fixing the sign on the ceiling, there's like drones in the sky, and there's a helicopter that like crashes into the Capitol Records Tower. There's all this stuff going on. It's really cool. And by the last act, it almost kind of turns into a zombie film at a point, because there's these rioters in the street, and it feels very much like it's got a real John Carpenter feel to it, between how it's made, even the plot. Like this is actually, it's like I sort of wish this was Escape from L.A. But the musical score, definitely. Even down to some of the quirkier kind of characters that are in the movie. And the action is really, really solid in it. Like, they all do such a good job with their characters. Like, yeah, we start out following Sterling K. Brown, but it gets into more of like kind of an ensemble feel, because there's a girl there who also has a mission, and Jeff Goldblum has kind of taken one in the side, and he is like this crime lord who like owns all of Los Angeles. And it was cool seeing him in this movie where he is pretty menacing in it. Like, it's more than just he shows up in his
Jeff
Goldblum.
Goldblum,
Yeah. I mean, there's Goldblum-y stuff in it, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
And also with Charlie Day, who is like this other guy in there who you get the impression he's like a serial rapist.
Oh, no.
Like he's there because like someone clawed his face.
Uh-huh.
And he's just like this wormy dude. And there are like Charlie Day moments, like when he's screaming and things like that, but he's playing a way more like sleazy, sinister, wormy kind of guy in this. Like he's having a lot of fun in the film. It feels like it's kind of one of those like 90s movies you'd see that were like near futuristic. Like the movie kind of feels like it's
Duke of New York, #1.
a little of that, but like Predator 2. Like this almost feels like it could be in the same universe as Predator 2. It's just a cool movie. Like there are really badass action sequences in it. The girl like just takes all these guys out in the hallway towards the end. Jodie Foster kills it in this film.
She's a really good actress.
Oh yeah, and she is like, she's got a moment towards the end of this film where I'm sitting there watching it and I was like practically in tears watching it. She's that good here. She plays this nurse who's been running this hotel for like 20 some years, and she's agoraphobic. And there's a part where she has to go out and get in the alley Jenny Slate, who's a cop who's been wounded, and she knows her from her past. And she's when she's going down on the elevator, she's shaking. She's listening to this headset that's talking her through anxiety and panic attacks. And even towards the end of the movie, when she has to step outside too, when there's all this rioting and explosions going on, like I'm like, fuck God, I hope she gets an Oscar nomination for this. Like she is selling this fucking role. Like she has just these brilliant moments towards the end, and also throughout the movie you see a lot. She really is the main character of this film.
Yeah.
Like we start out with Sterling K. Brown, but she really is like what is like kind of connecting all of these characters. And you find out a lot about her past, like she had a son who died of a heroin overdose, and you kind of find out what kind of led her to running this hotel and all these connections she has with Jeff Goldblum and a few of the other characters. Like I loved this movie. I loved this movie so goddamn much. It's like, it's also one of those cases too where it feels like one quick rewrite, this would be like a badass Purge movie. You know, that I as much as I really liked like Purge Anarchy and Election Year, this one like I maybe even like better than those. Like I had a total blast at this film. And when I met you, because it got out shortly before we went to go see Ocean's 8, and I'm like, this movie's so good. I hope Sarah enjoys Ocean's 8. If it sucks, I'm gonna be sitting there like, well, let me tell you about this great fucking movie I saw. It's got a different enough feel than John Wick. Like, yeah, it has like, if you look at the trailer, it's like, yeah, okay, there you can see some similarities there with the hotel, but it's got a totally different feel to it than that film does. I totally recommend this. Like, I want to take Laura to go see it. She would
I
really
might
dig
see if
it.
we can get a babysitter and see if David wants to go with me.
Oh yeah, you guys would also love Upgrade. Upgrade was, there are two really badass movies playing right now between this and Upgrade. No, I highly recommend this film. I fucking loved it. I had a great time at this. It's 90 minutes long. It is never boring.
I like a 90-minute movie. I'm too old for that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hours bullshit.
It is consistently entertaining and steamy.
Ooh, Sterling K. Brown. I do declare.
Charlie Day plays one of those characters that you would see in like 80s action movies where it's like the wormy guy who's smarting off to someone who could kill them in a fucking second. Like, if this movie were made in the 80s, like David Patrick Kelly would be playing this part.
Who is he? Bobby, I'm Your White Knight?
No, he was Commando when Arnold dropped him off the... Remember the Warriors come out to play? That's him.
Okay. Hit the bottles.
Yeah. Gink, gink, gink. Although, if Ellis from Die Hard was in this, you want to talk about
I could see him as a serial rapist. Okay. Bloop. Peppermint.
Oh yeah, I got that trailer like a week or so ago. It's the Jennifer Garner action movie.
Yeah, that looked good. It also looked heartbreaking.
I
Kind of like Lady Punisher, right?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, no, I want to see. I like that she's back to doing like an action movie.
Yeah.
So
She's a good little actress.
Yeah, yeah. And she is good in action roles, and it's been a while since I've seen her in one of those. So yeah, it's a movie that's from the director of Taken, and you can tell.
Yeah.
Like it'll be that kind of action movie, which is fine with me. I hope it's more like Taken and not Taken 2 and 3.
The preview made me tear up a couple of times because like the first half is her just like losing everything and like losing her shit in a courtroom, and the second half is her being a little badass.
Yeah, and hanging people from Ferris wheels and shit.
I'm sure they deserved it. Mamma Mia 2, here I go again.
Man, it's fun watching this trailer now that we've seen the first movie.
Yeah, I do feel like the singing, like having watched the first movie, the singing seems better, at least in the trailer.
Oh, that's what they want you to think.
But again, they hired like young dudes to play Harry and the other two, which I appreciate, because in the first movie it's just them in wigs and it's awful.
If as bad as Pierce Brosnan's singing was in the first movie, if he doesn't sing in this, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
Dada!
Man, that movie doesn't look good.
Again, having watched the first one, this looks better than the first one.
You think so?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see.
Well, it does seem like there's not as much singing in this preview, which means either there's not as much singing in the movie, or they've specifically not given us any of the singy bits because they don't want to scare us off. Like the Into the Woods previews, like you could barely tell that shit was a musical.
Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. That's very true.
The Girl in the Spider's Web, which looks so good.
That looks
Foy
good.
is such a good casting for that.
She is. I mean, I would like to have seen like a continuation with like
Shit, what's her name?
Rooney Mara
Yeah.
and Daniel Craig. But this does look really good. And then Claire Foy is a really good casting for that. Is this in the same like continuity as the first movie, and it's just recasted?
I haven't read any of the books. I tried reading Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and it was a rough set.
You liked the movies, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked them all right.
Yeah. No, I never read the books. I wasn't much on the sequels to the original movie.
Yeah, that's the same boat as Oceans 12 and 13. But I can't keep them straight in my head as far as like. She like gave him a jacket, but that was the end of the first one.
Was that in the because there was some stuff in the David Fincher one that was in the sequel book, but it's been a while. But this looked.
The girl that she caught fire.
Yeah, and the hornet's nest.
And she kicked a hornet's nest.
Yeah, and this looks better than those two.
Yes.
No, yeah, I am glad that they're doing another one, because I did like the David Fincher one.
There's a quick cut to like what looks like maybe her in a full latex body bag with the air getting sucked out of it, and that gave me like a tiny little anxiety attack. But
if it's
maybe it'll be like a consensual latex full body bag with the air getting sucked out.
Or like if it's anything like the Fincher one, that could just be the opening credits.
True, the opening credits of that movie were fucking gorgeous.
They were so good. Yeah.
Widows, which basically looked like Ocean's 8, but brutal.
Brutal 8.
It looks like it's these ladies whose husbands died doing a heist, and the people whose money they stole want the money back, so they have to like do their own heist.
Yeah, and it's
Viola Davis,
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez.
That looked really good. It's Steve McQueen, the dude who did 12 Years a Slave. It looks like a really suspenseful film, and it's actiony, and it's got Michelle Rodriguez in it, so I want to see it.
Yes.
No, that was the first time I got that trailer. That looked pretty intense.
I heard she's not going to be doing the Fast and the Furious movies anymore.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Oh, no, I didn't hear about that.
She was definitely upset about it, but I can't remember if she like for sure said she wasn't going to be in any of them. Because the ninth one comes out when, 2020?
Probably. They seem to make those movies every couple of years. Maybe we'll get those spin-off movies in between. The universe. I know, right?
Woo, Michelle Rodriguez. Crazy Rich Asians.
I feel like I've seen the entire movie just from that trailer.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks good, and I like Aquafina was in the trailer for this, and she was also in Ocean's 8, so maybe that's where the joining line was, because it didn't really seem like...
I was kind of wondering about that, yeah. I mean, granted, it also put that trailer in front of Hotel Artemis, so...
I don't know if the joining line is there, because this was like action movie, action movie, action movie, action movie. Crazy Rich Asians.
All right. Fine, hope that's an IMAX.
So, I like to see an interesting romantic comedy, but it looks it looks stressful because it's all just her and their mom at loggerheads. Mm-hmm. But it also looks really pretty, so maybe I will enjoy it.
It does, yeah, it does look that. It looks like it'll be a well-made movie. It looks like the cinematography will be good. It's just one of those where I'm like, I feel like I've seen this whole movie now in 3 minutes.
A Star is Born.
I want to see that. I really want to see that.
Well, I love me some Lady Gaga, and she's got a gorgeous voice. The portions of the preview where she's acting make me a little worried. But,
oh, really?
Yeah.
She looked good to me in it, as far as her acting went. I mean, I've seen her... I'm curious to see her in this, because I have seen her act before, and when I've seen her act before, she's done a really good job, but she's usually...
What else has she been in?
She was on American Horror Story, and she was in fucking Machete Kills. Uh-huh. And she was really good in those, but she is playing a very Lady Gaga type in those. Okay. This
character's just kind of an awkward character, because it just seeed like she was doing kind of a weird read on her lines.
She looked fine to me in it, but again, I was watching the trailer, man, I really do want to see this because I love the 70s one. You ever see that one?
No.
The Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand.
I didn't realize this was a remake.
Even that one was a remake. It was a Judy Garland movie back in the day, and then Christopherson and Streisand did one in the 70s, and it's a lot of fun.
I do love Barbara Streisand.
I know. Oh, you would love this movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you would totally love the 70s one. That's why I was really liking the trailer for this, because they stuck with the Christopherson role, still having a beard, and looking like Chris Christopherson. Bradley Cooper looks kind of like Chris Christopherson in this. Mm-hmm. It looks more like a remake to that than it does the Judy Garland one. No, I hope she's good in it.
Yeah, I'm she's an amazing singer, and if the acting isn't painful to watch, I think I'll really enjoy it.
But if it is really bad, though, maybe it'll be kind of great in a bad Madonna movie kind of way. You ever see Body of Evidence?
No.
Oh, you'd love it. She did this movie in the early 90s with Willem Dafoe where she's on trial.
Sold.
Just wait. She's on trial for murder for fucking a guy to death.
Why are we watching this now?
You'd love this fucking movie. Yeah, Madonna's got a couple of great movies, but when she's got one that's not very good, it's so good in a completely different way.
Mission Impossible Fallout.
Oh, yeah, which still looks awesome.
Still looks really, really good. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna go.
Yeah, we're melting. So we're gonna take off.
Yeah, we're gonna see The Incredibles later this week.
Yeah, and I got Hereditary tomorrow. And Tag is also this weekend.
Hereditary looks too scary for me.
Way too scary.
Too scary for me. There's people barfing in the movie theaters.
Really? Oh, I hope we get barf bags.
Me.
I hope we get barf bags.
Bye.